Okay, this is a good question. What are some of the long-term consequences of homelessness we might not initially think of? Well, one of the first things that comes to mind for me is spousal abuse. So, one source that read said that 30% of all domestic relationships contain domestic abuse as it's currently defined. So, so that's an environment in which, 1 in 3 families, domestic relationships being a relationship where a family is living together, is going to experience domestic abuse. Now, that can be, a range of things, but let's say that 1 in 8 out of those 1 in 3 is severe abuse. I'm not sure exactly what the statistic is. Unfortunately, we don't gather that data in the county, in part because we don't have a metadata source. We don't have any place that I know. I know I've never been asked about domestic abuse in Marin County. And so we don't have the data. But of the people who are being severely abused, why do they stay is the question. And one of the reasons is, what's their alternative? Because we abuse our homeless people. We tell them they can't sleep by the side of the road. We tell them they can't park in parking places. We tell them they can't sleep legally on the sidewalk. We have made it criminal to survive if you're homeless. Now, people who are domestic abuse survivors are very aware of threats all around them. And one of the good questions that someone needs to ask themselves if they're driving by a 70-year-old woman who's homeless again and again and again is, how would I be treated if I left this house and needed support? Would there be a place for me, and if so, what? And why? Is there anything innately more valuable to me than one of these homeless people? And if so, what is that? And if not, then why aren't these homeless people that I see day after day getting any support? Are these homeless people being treated with respect and gaining social status, or are they simply being ignored and marginalized? And so even though I'm abused at home, would the abuse be even worse at the hands of my government, such that I'm actually safer at home? And so there is, in effect, a silence in the domestic abuse field. And we can expect a certain silence until such time as there is a certainty of low-cost, abundant alternatives, so that someone does not need to make a relationship decision based on money. So that's just one of many long-term things. So, and then, this is spouses with children, for example, who can't take their children out, or they think maybe if I put up with the abuse and my child keeps going to this private school, that's okay, because I don't want to, dramatically affect my child's future. So there's choices like this, and it directly ties in to the cost of housing in many cases.